Hi, this is Chris Young of atmakers.org. Today we're going to demonstrate how to set up and use personal voice on your iOS device. Here's a list of the devices which are supported. Personal voice allows you to record your voice and essentially archive it for future use. If you're in fear of losing your voice to, say, ALS, MS, SMA, perhaps throat cancer, if you want to be able to preserve your voice and use it in the future, you can use personal voice. You read a series of sentences for about 15 minutes, and it analyzes your voice, and through AI creates an artificial version of your voice. Then you can cut and paste any text you want into the live speech feature, and it will read the text back using your voice. There are also some ACC software that is able to use personal voice, but we won't be demonstrating that today. Here's a detailed tutorial on how to set up and use personal voice. We've included chapter headings in the video so you can skip the parts that you don't want to see. Here we are on my brand new iPad Air M2. As you can see, I'm operating this using switch control. We're going to be able to do this entire process using switch control. You can see that we're running iOS 18.0. This is an iPad Air 11-inch M2. We're going to go down here to accessibility. I'm going to scroll down on this side. Under speech, we have personal voice. We're going to create a new personal voice. Now you have to have some sort of verification, a PIN number set up in order to use personal voice. I don't like that, but it's a requirement. Obviously, I'm going to edit this part out so you don't know what my PIN number is.
A few moments later.
And now we're going to start training a new personal voice. It says we're going to record 150 phrases aloud, which may take about 15 minutes. Then the iPad will create your personal voice. You have to leave it sit overnight for it to create the voice. And then you'll be able to type using live speech. It also works with content, voiceover, and some augmented speech apps. It says augmented speech apps. Not all of them support personal voice. Choose the language. Now you do have to have a very quiet surrounding. In fact, when I tried to do this before, when my air conditioner would kick on, it created too much background noise. So it has to be really quiet. Now you have a choice of using default phrases or short phrases. When I did this before, some of the default phrases were a little bit long because I don't have much lung capacity. We're going to do the long one again, but then I'll go back and do another one with the short phrases and see if I notice a difference in quality. But for now, we're going to do long phrases. We're going to hit the record button and we start recording. I'm creating a personal voice with my iPad. It says the background noise is okay. This device supplies the correct amount of required air. I know you play golf, but have you ever tried baseball? In 1956, he earned a bachelor's degree from Yale. Traveling the world for the perfect burrito sounds dreamy. I really appreciate that. Thank you. It grows from Montana to New Mexico and the west to the Pacific coast. All amendments must be approved by the people in an election. The Wales Airport lies outside the edge of the city. She's best known as a playwright. He urged farmers loyal to the United Kingdom to join him. Then the shells sink to the bottom of the sea. Ah, that puppy is so tiny and cute. Justices of many courts are elected to the national... All right, I read that wrong. So we're going to go back. All right, let's try this again. Justices of many courts are elected by the National Assembly. It has a College of Arts and Sciences and a School of Medicine. I think we may have met before, a while ago. In 1960, a sub traveled around the world. Are you going to finish those fries? During the next 20 years, they explored much of the region. Many of these buildings date from the 1700s. It has the length of 1.5 inches. Could you remind me in 20 minutes? These findings led to the creation of the radio and other devices. At that time, a new crop of directors emerged. Farmland covers about 67% of the land. Communal business and personal services form the leading service industry. Okay, it didn't like that. It quit before I was finished reading. The problem is, if you pause for a second, it thinks you're done. Okay, let's try this again. Communal business and personal services form the leading service industry. At the time, the Cardinals were one of the weakest teams in the National League. It's the birthplace of a former French leader. Are they a couple now? Does any of this help? Does she remember me? Pizza is one of my favorite things to eat. I'm heading out now, but I'll be back in an hour. He was elected to the British House of Commons in 1970. She came to New York City when she was 20 years old. Would you ever eat at that restaurant again? What do bears like best? Honey. That roller coaster was so fun. Wow, 3 chairs. 3 cherries? No. Go back. Okay, I got the right phrase. Back again. After about 3 tries. I edited some of that out. Wow, these cherries are so ripe and sweet. Tourists visit it throughout the year. It has an average of about 1 radio for every 4 people. In October, he became the first person from Europe to visit New Zealand. In addition to being useful, furniture is designed to make our surroundings appear more pleasant. Barry answered, "Here I am." She was the daughter of a well-known merchant. Did you eat all your broccoli? Corn is used to make many commercial products. About 2/3 of the farmers own the land on which they work. She won an election in 1984. Is she done with her test? Two of them erupted in the 1700s. It lies in the valley of the Rocky Mountains. In the mid-1880s, underground mining began. Farmland covers about 90% of the state. She hollered to Cal, "Don't be afraid." He was named to the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 1970. Would you like another piece of pie? The gentleman with the fan exclaimed, "Good morning." They are a personal spokesperson for the Secretary of the National Committee. Wow, what a game! It lies in the center of the continent. The king cried, "I hate the very name of gold." Since the early 1800s, large numbers of tourists have come to Switzerland. Can you ask them if they're using that chair? Most of them are from 3,000 to 6,000 feet high. Athens is one of the world's most famous and historic cities. Grabbing a cup of coffee this afternoon sounds great. She played an important part in fiscal and foreign policy. Since the mid-1900s, it has expanded rapidly. Finally, the convention must be approved by more than half of the people voting on the law. Next year, she joined the Institute in Paris. His mother gasps, "My goodness, that was dangerous." But what the person really sees is part of the sky. At the age of 14, he was taken to England to study music. Do you know what time the meeting starts? During the 1960s, Gregory became active in civil rights. Okay, that one didn't work. It stopped recording before I finished the sentence. So we will try again. I paused at that comma, and it thought that I was finished. So, you gotta be careful. That's the problem with these long phrases. I take a breath during the comma, and it thinks I'm done. We'll try the short phrases later. During the 1960s, Gregory became active in civil rights. We interrupt this program for a special announcement. Here's a late update. I found another feature that I didn't realize was there. You know, I had the problem that sometimes it would cut me off in the middle of a sentence if I would pause. But if you look down here at the bottom, it says I was in continuous recording mode. If I click on that, there's another option that says stop at each phrase. And that way, if I pause in the middle of a sentence, it's not going to cut me off. It's going to wait until I tell it that I'm done recording. So we're going to select stop at each phrase. And then we're going to hit the record button. Is there another way to get to the store? Now, it didn't stop listening until I hit the stop button. Now I have to manually go to the next phrase. And then manually hit record again. Do you like classical music? Now here's a sentence that's very long, and if I have to stop and take a breath in the middle, it won't cut me off. Communal learning began in the United States in the early 1900s. Now, if I'd done that in the old system of continuous recording, it would have moved on to the next phrase every time I paused. So anyway, this is a workaround that I didn't know about when I first created the video, and that might work for you. It takes more work because you have to pause the recording, advance to the next phrase, and then restart the recording. But at least it's not going to cut you off in the middle of a sentence. We now return you to your regularly scheduled program. Some kinds of moths have the color of tree bark. Let's go grab a bite to eat. He became the first to be named to the United States Cabinet. Do you believe in magic? I have straightaways, hills, and... Okay, it's not I, it's they. We'll go back. It's weird how your mind reads things that aren't there. Okay, that one did okay. We'll skip it. Here we go. They have straightaways, hills, and various turns. He was one of the most important architects of the 1600s. In addition, this test provides a percentile rank for each score. Yum! This dessert is so different and so delicious. Did she say why? He traveled to the southern tip of South America. Okay, I left out a word. He next traveled to the southern tip of South America. In 1988, he won his first... Oh, actually... Time to take a break.
3 days later.
Okay, we're back again after a pause. I thought I was just going to pause and catch my breath and rest up a little bit after reading 59 phrases. And I had company come over, and then they came back the next day. And anyway, it's 2 days later. I'm finally getting back to work on this. So I just wanted to point out that you don't have to do this all at once. So we're going to go back over here to Chris's personal voice, the one we were working on. By the way, we're in Settings, Accessibility, Personal Voice. And it says we have 59 phrases left to record. I'm sorry, I said I recorded 59. We got 59 left to go. So I'm going to click on that. And it's going to ask me for my passcode, which I'm going to edit out so you can't see what I'm clicking on. Okay, we've typed in our passcode, and now we're here in Chris's personal voice. We're going to click on Continue Recording, and we're going to finish up the last 59 sentences. Again, they're going to double check my sound quality, which is good because I'm sitting in a different position. Microphone might be different. I'm creating a personal voice with my iPad. And it likes our little background noise, so we can continue. Nearby is Toronto, one of the chief ports on the Great Lakes. And you have to hit the record button. We'll leave that in just to show what an idiot I am sometimes. Nearby is Toronto, one of the chief ports on the Great Lakes. That planet is about 100 times brighter than the sun. Some of these trails... Okay, messed that one up. Some of these trials are conducted in a lab. He began his baseball career in the minor leagues in 1928. I can't believe you did that. About 1.5 million years ago, people began to use fire. If you need any help, please let me know. I have an extra ticket if you'd like to come. Branson became a city in 1912 and has a mayor-council form of government. The ancient Greeks laid the foundation of Western culture. I never really thought about it like that. Nuclear plants provide about 20% of the state's electrical power. The precise name for one of the most common species is derived from a state name. It's also used in games. Have you written anything else? If you won the lottery, would you keep working? That was the best movie I've ever seen. Could you come back in about an hour? She remained at Rice for the rest of her career. The campus has programs in such areas as business management, teaching, and nursing. Partly as a result, most presidents enjoy vacations outside the White House. Yuck, there are lumps in my food. It adopted its present name in 1524. He believed that the expansion of work skills would lead to a better economy. Do you want ice cream? It's an agency of the United States Department of Commerce. Can she see in the dark? Broad valleys and plateaus lie 6,000 feet above sea level. It takes its name from a city in Ireland. Can you set a timer for 10 minutes? The city also has a large number of people from other countries living there. What a handsome child you have. Reading poetry helps me understand the world. He would graduate from Cornell in 1957 with a degree in arts. Are you ready for the baseball game? While in Paris, she studied at an art school. The state has 83 counties, each of which is divided into townships. It is also a market center for the people of the area. Dolphins can talk to one another in different ways. Bravo! That kid is talented. She studied at Cambridge. Is she going to the grocery store now or in the morning? It's an extension of the nearby sea. The city covers about 40 square miles in the middle of a rich farming area. They visited Europe and the Middle East. Can she adjust her schedule? As the lawyer, Marshall had argued a case before the court. About 1/5 of the people live in Vienna. When I see bright colors, I tend to think positively. Is there another way to get to the store? It was part of the trading company. He lived with his brother Francis in the Channel Islands. She then devoted the rest of her life to politics, foreign affairs, and writing. Wouldn't it be funny if we bought each other the same present? I couldn't be more excited about my new electric bicycle. Have you ever sneezed and coughed at the same time? She attended college in Los Angeles. I had a great day at the park. For her work, she was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1959. And we're done. So, we hit continue. We're told to charge and lock the iPad. Your personal voice will only be generated while the iPad is charging and locked, and will receive a notification when it's ready to be used. So typically you leave this set overnight, and it will crunch away on all of the recordings that you made of your voice, and through some sort of artificial intelligence magic, it creates your personal voice. So we will be back tomorrow to show you what to do with your personal voice once you've created it. Signing off for now.
The next day.
Here we are the next day. We're going to look at the results of our processing. Actually, it did not take overnight. It only took a few hours, but I didn't have a chance to get to work on it late yesterday. So we're taking a look today. We're going to go into settings. And there it is. My new personal voice. And what's my passcode? I'll have to edit this out of the video. Here we are. Let's preview. This is Chris's personal voice. This is Chris's personal voice. Okay, not bad. Now that we've successfully created and tested the personal voice using the preview, let's go set up how to use the personal voice. We're going to set it in 2 different places. Going to go back here in the accessibility section, scroll up a little bit. There's a section called spoken content. It's in the top section here, the vision section. And we're going to tell it that we want to speak the selection. And then we're going to choose the voice that we want to use. And here in the voices section, you'll notice we've already selected English as our default language. And just in case, I turned off detect languages so that it would always use English. I don't want it guessing what language I might use. Just in case. Don't know if that causes problems or not, but better to be safe. Go into Voices, and you'll see that under English, we have a default U.S. English voice known as Samantha. We're going to test that and let you hear what it sounds like.
Hello, my name is Samantha.
Okay, now let's try my voice. We click on it, switch to Chris's personal voice, and we will do a preview of that. This is Chris's personal voice. Okay, there's one other place we're going to set the personal voice. We're going to go back a couple and down near the bottom of accessibility. We have another feature called live speech. Currently, live speech is turned off. We're going to turn it on. And we're going to set it from Samantha to Chris's voice. Okay, live speech now has Chris's personal voice. Now we're going to call up a Google Docs document, and we're going to have it speak the text. So we hit the home button, and now we're going to go down here to a Google Doc containing a short story that I wrote for a writing seminar that I'm taking. Now, unfortunately, Google Docs works better with gliding cursor mode than it does with item mode. So we're going to switch to gliding cursor. Click anywhere in the text of the story. Go into gestures. Tap and hold. We're going to select all. And now there's a button called Speak. We hit Speak.
Short story frame rate a transcript of a video posted to social media on May 29th. Hello to all of my fans and followers. Most of you already know much of this.
Okay, that didn't sound like me. So I don't know why it isn't working. But we notice we set up two different places for using personal voice. One was in spoken content, and the other one was in live speech. So we're going to try the live speech feature. We're going to go back into my Google document. We're going to select the text again. Tap and hold. This time, we're going to copy. Now we just copied all of that selected text from my short story into the clipboard. Now, in order to trigger live speech, you can either triple click the power button, or under switch control, you can do what's called the accessibility shortcut. And that's available under Device and Accessibility Shortcut. Now this is going to pop up a list of accessibility shortcuts, and we want live speech. You can have lots of different accessibility features available under this shortcut. Right now, all we have is switch control and live speech. Click on live speech, and it pops up a text box and a keyboard. We can either type into that text box using the keyboard, or we're going to use a paste button. Over here in the corner of the keyboard is a paste icon, and we hit paste, and it pastes my story into that text box. Then we're going to come over here on the right side and hit the blue speech button, and hopefully this one works. Short story frame rate, a transcript of a video posted to social media on May 29th. Hello to all of my fans and followers. Most of you already know much of this story, but I'm making this video to tell the entire story from the beginning. I didn't see the tanker truck cross the interstate median and come toward me. I also didn't see the shocking discoveries I would make regarding the nature of reality as a result of the accident. The terrifying, eye-opening accident occurred nearly 4 years ago as I was westbound on I-74 west of Indianapolis, just past the Ronald Reagan Expressway interchange. The UPS truck in the left lane about 60 feet in front of me initially blocked my view of the 18-wheel monster careening towards me. So, we finally got personal voice working. We showed you how to set it up, how to configure it by training it to your voice, and we found a bug that won't let it speak selected content, and then we found a workaround where you can cut and paste that selected content into the live speech feature, and it will still speak in your voice. Now remember, I also mentioned some AAC programs will allow you to use personal voice directly. I don't particularly happen to have one, but I know that there are several that do. Here's a list. I've not verified this list, but it came from a reputable source, and I will be trying out some of those in the future. Hopefully the AAC program that I do use will be adding personal voice very soon. I'm not going to tell you which one it is. I don't want to say anything negative about those people. They're good people, and I'm sure they'll implement the feature really soon. Many thanks to Bill Benko of atmakers.org who made this video possible. And that's all for now. Bye-bye.